the corrupt inflation of the price of building land. The old party committee in the Constitution agreed on the implementation of changes that my colleague Deputy Kilmore had originally proposed in his Dáil motion on behalf of the Labour Party on acquiring land for housing. The government has failed in housing provision, and in doing so, and I regret to have to say it, it has torn the heart out of the economy and it has destabilised society. The absence, we all know, of a good, secure and comfortable home in a secure neighbourhood has effects on one's partner, one's children and one's neighbours. To deny the right to home and at the same time to promote an insatiable greed and speculation, that is this government's version of the Republic. The principle of the right to a home must be accepted. It does not mean that the government is required to provide everyone with a home tomorrow morning. Instead, what it does mean, as it is stated in the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, that such rights may be progressively realised. In plain terms, you indicate the direction you're going in, and you indicate how much of it you can achieve. While then, not all builders are speculators. We are paying the price for the small speculative clique which holds lands near cities. And that clique knows it is always safe with Fianna Fáil. And it's even on a roll with the Progressive Democrats, which will take state assets and transfer all of them, stealing from the public for the benefit of the few. I believe that historians will come to write about this period, and they will ask how we used the fruits of economic growth. They will write of people whispering about the number of houses they own. No longer in the Republic is it a matter of having a roof over one's head, and how many one has managed to secure with benefit of tax benefits and tax breaks. Such a question is about really what one has acquired on the blood of those whose likelihood of having a roof over one's head one has by one's action put out of reach. That is the Fianna Fáil PD's government's version of a republic. The housing crisis, I repeat, has not only torn the heart out of the economy and destroyed communities, it has dashed young people's hopes of owning a home. What has taken place in the most prosperous of times is little less than a betrayal of the Republic. Our present government, comrades, sees no contradiction, by the way, between their boast of being the second richest economy in Europe and having one of the lowest levels of social protection in Europe. Social protection is measured in what it means, the proportion of our wealth, of gross domestic product, that we spend on health, childcare, care of the elderly, youth facilities, public spaces for recreation and so on. In the last 10 years, under a right-of-centre government, wealth has accumulated for the few at the cost of the many who are relying on public goods. The public must ask itself the question as to whether it wants to re-elect a government that glories in the removal of all obstacles to the private accumulation of wealth by individuals who avail of tax avoidance strategies that government itself provides, who are simply not concerned that such accumulation of wealth is achieved at the cost of fellow citizens. The principle of rights-based policies, then, of universal provision on the basis of equal citizenship that can be progressively realised, these are principles that should prevail in every area, be it in terms of health policy, the right of every citizen to have their personal and social development facilitated by education through life, the right of citizens of all ages to a decent public transport system, or one of those areas that I have been talking about, the area of housing. When we implement such policies, the Labour Party is showing its commitment to a more equitable distribution of the benefits of the economy, because we believe that economic growth should not be an end in itself, but the means to a decent society. Replacing the present government means that the capacity of our economy can be harnessed to serve the needs of our people. The present scandalous waste of resources and the transfer of speculative gains at the cost of the public, that can be ended. Labour believes that it invites those who vote for the existing government parties to put a question to themselves. Should I use my vote to allow this version of a government in Ireland to prevail? Or should I use my vote to provide an alternative? How will I use my vote to support a values-based version of society? And what will be the policy outcome of my vote for the next 5 years? Labour believes that we can, that indeed we must place the stamp of democracy and humanity on our times by encouraging the involvement in politics of all sections of our citizenship and age groups. If the economy is to be inclusive, if society is to have equality, if culture is to be accessible, if technology is to serve rather than to dominate, if we are to live responsibly in harmony with the environment, we must encourage and secure the involvement of all sections of our society and of all ages. We must encourage their participation in every way. For our version, a rights-based approach based on values that can be progressively achieved and the practical programme stated for the next 5 years, as a minimum, as we make our way to the rights-based society. How possible is all of this? It is possible, it is necessary, if we are to lift the yoke of neoliberalism from the lives of our citizens. It is possible now, with courage, commitment and imagination, to elect a government within which Labour will play a leading role in providing a rights-based, as I have said, a policy in intent and practical in its progressive achievement over the next 5 years. Our conference, you will hear, will outline what should be done, what can be done, and what, when we enter government, comrades, will be done. Garamila Mahaka.
The first